Hello all. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, based on wherever you are. So, in continuation to what's new in Business Handle 2024 Release V2, aka Business Handle 25, today we'll talk about a pretty small but I think pretty useful feature with Business Handle 25 or Runtime 14.0, which is now you can create queries with tooltips. Now, as we all know, tooltips are a very good help for our users when they use system because they provide insights about that field, and it helps at least the new user to understand how the system look like, right? So when you click on any field caption, you will notice that there is a tooltip associated with it on Microsoft field. And then if you have created customization and added tooltip, those tooltips will also be available for your users. But till now, till version BC 24, the tooltips were missing from the query object. So what we'll do in today's video, we'll try to create a new query, see what happens if you try to add tooltip prior to this, and then we'll try to add tooltip into the current runtime version. So without wasting further time, let's get into it. So let's add a new folder here and I'll call it as queries, and let's add a new query. Okay, I'll try to keep it simple if I can, and let me call it as SDH. On which table we should build it? Let's build it on vendor. Then I want to see the vendor remaining amount based on document type. Yeah, let's think about it. Okay, so SDH vendor query, and it's a normal query. The other option is API. So if you don't know it, we can talk about it later. Just let me know. From the vendor table, I would like to get the number of vendor, the name of the vendor, and let's say balance for the vendor. The wizard does not support multiple tables at this moment, but I would love to use multiple tables. So what I'll do is, and I like to keep it clean, as in I'll have to change it later, but I like to keep it like this so that it's easier for people who are reading it later on if I don't have any properties. Now let's add a related data item into it, and this is what we can do with the query object. Let's add vendor ledger entry. Okay, and in the vendor ledger entry we'll surely add some field, but let's see what the error is. So the error says the data item link must be sent. Data item link is to be set to relate this entity with the parent entity. So what you are going to do is vendor number in vendor ledger entry is equal to vendor dot number. Okay. Okay. So this is how I'm relating these two entities, and then I would like to select some fields from it. So let's say I would like the document type. Okay, and then I also like the document number for sure, but I would like to get the remaining amount. Okay, but I would like to calculate the sum of the remaining amount. So what I can do in the properties of this particular column is say that how I want to proceed is use the method sum. So for each vendor, based on document type, it will sum up all the remaining amount and show it to me. But as I'm seeing at remaining amount, I would also like to add filter that only do it on where entries are open, right? So I can do a filter data item table filter and say where open, which is a field, is equal to constant true. So it is only doing for the entities where there is payment due or amount is remaining to be paid. Now this all looks good. I can either make this searchable using application area all. The other way is also to set the query category list and associate it with the page. So I can do a vendor list page and it'll get associated with that page also. Now here it says application area cannot be used in this context. Okay, so I cannot assign application area, which is okay. So from vendor list page, if you search for this, you will be able to see that query object. Now before we move forward, let's see what is if I try to add tooltip on this and say the name of the vendor. Okay, or I can use the tooltip ML, which is the multi-language capability. So I can say tooltip ML and say ENU vendor number for the vendor. Now you cannot use tooltip and tooltip ML together, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so it'll give you an error message that you cannot use both the properties together. You either use ML property, which is multi-language capabilities, or you just use the tooltip property. So I'll stick to this. That in ENU it should show me vendor number for the vendor, and you can keep doing it commas for different languages that you need to support. Okay, now that's good. Let's copy this name so that I can search it, and let's do a control F5 to publish this. Now what will happen is when I get into my vendor list page, which is the query category, I can actually search for this and I'll find it, right? I cannot directly search for it on the search panel because I cannot assign an application area property to that particular object. Or can I? Let's see, because I did not do a pair of it. So can I do a users category as let's do list. Let's see what happens. And application area as all. No, the application area context is not used, cannot be used. Okay, so we are here in our client. Let's get into the vendors page and let's search for the vendor query. Now if you notice, this is how the query look like, and I should have the document type and the remaining amount. So this is the balance, this is the remaining amount, which is more or less the same thing. Remaining amount is just the equivalent of it. So I could have removed the balance, but this is the cumulative for this. If for a particular vendor there were other kind of document type, it will create two lines for that because we are grouping it based on the document type. But that is what we are not here for. We are here for to see what's the tooltip look like for the fields where we have specified it, and then for the field where we haven't specified it, it is not showing any of the tooltip that's available. Now I'll say, oh, sorry, that was possible prior, even before this. So what you can do is we can just tweak the runtime to the prior version, which is 13.0, and you'll notice that the query have errors, and it says the tooltip ML is not available in runtime version 13.0. The supported runtime are 14.0 or higher. Same goes for tooltip. So only from this version, which is BC 25 and higher, you'll be able to utilize tooltip on your query object, and that helps user when they access these queries from the client. So let me know what do you think about this feature into the comments, and at this point you know the drill. If you like the content, hit the like button. If you think this is something that other fellow developers in Business Central ecosystem should know about, share this on your social media. And if you haven't, then please do subscribe to the channel, because there is a lot of videos coming for this year and follow up here going forward in this channel, and you might miss an important video if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I'll see you sooner than later into the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep sharing whatever you're learning. Thank you and have a great day.